Auga! Auga!
God damn it, Chris.
Making sure it works.
Yeah.
We got one viewer. Oh, wait, it's you.
It's me. All right, let me see if I can put this on the book face. Oh my God. That good, huh? You just sit there, drink, say, oh my God to yourself. Okay.
I feel like I just had sex.
Shit. With me in the room. Man, I might need you to share the link because my shit's acting slow. There you go. All right, we should probably get started as soon as you post that.
What's up?
You got it?
Man, I'm ready when you ready. Let
I'm
me
ready.
Just make sure that people can see us.
Do it, you
Let
son
me
of a
see.
bitch.
Let me
Do it.
freaking see. Can they see us? Oh, yeah.
It's on? It's on?
Man, we up and running.
We up and running?
Mm-hmm.
We doing something right.
Mm-hmm.
We cooking.
Number 10.
10. Live from the landing strip. It's the 10th edition of HWR Dark Match.
Yeah.
This time, Ultima Lucha
Cuatro.
Bitch.
This is Abel.
And this is Travis.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Oh, fuck.
You're Chris.
Oh, sure. I guess.
I'm Abel.
Not that I want to be.
Yes. You don't want to be Chris?
Nah.
You don't want to be yourself?
Nah.
You rather be me?
I still feel like a Joseph.
Oh, ugh, Joseph. I felt kind of dirty when we went over and picked up pizza and you had to say Joseph.
What the fuck are you doing here on a Saturday night?
We watched the Ultima Lucha. That's what we did.
Yeah.
Watching some wrestling. Some damn good wrestling.
Man, it took a lot of will for me to wait. Because I didn't even know if we were doing this.
Right.
And then like maybe a couple of murmurs after Wednesday when we recorded. And you were actually free, and of course I was free. So I was like, you know what? Let's do this shit. Brought you over, fed you.
Yep.
Turned on the telly.
Yep.
Fuck.
Fuck is right, my friend.
Oh my God.
I'm
drained, dude.
Me too.
This was only 2 hours and 15 minutes. 2 hours and 15, 2 hours, 20 minutes. Holy fuck, this was a show.
Mm-hmm.
This is the equivalent of the Infinity War. For anybody that's been watching Marvel for the past 10 years, you have to have seen this from the first Iron Man movie, which means anybody that's been a fan of Lucha Underground from season 1, episode 1, and has not missed a beat, even if you had to wait a while, or even if you took some time in the middle. If you've been watching all 4 seasons that led up to Ultima Lucha Cuatro, the snap of the finger payoff was so fucking worth it. Mm-hmm. And I think it even answered a question, and not to jump too far ahead. There's no doubt we are getting another season.
Well, we should.
We should get another season. Storyline-wise, they didn't tie things off.
Money switching hands, that's a different thing. You know, producers and TVs and all that. But the story's there. I definitely want to see a season 5.
We walked into the season 4 going, all right, they lost Puma. Cuerno's thinking about leaving. Pentagon and Phoenix don't want to go. A whole bunch of rumors and innuendo about what we were going to get from season 4. we started season 4 with Pentagon as the champ, wondering the entire time, oh man, when is that episode when he loses the belt and we never see him again? He gets written off into the sunset.
Yeah.
This entire
broke my sweater.
Oh, you moron. This entire season has been top notch.
Oh yeah.
I don't think as far as episodes go, I don't think there's one single snooze at the entire season. And there are only 22 episodes this season. This was very condensed compared to 35, 45 episodes from seasons before.
Right. So Arnold, his big complaint about trying to catch up because he didn't watch from the beginning was, holy fuck, there's so many episodes. If you did kind of start in season 4, I know that you said that, you know, this is like the Marvel Universe movies that you get a payoff from a lot of stuff, which is true, but you probably could have started it at season 4 and been okay. And like you said, it's just 22 episodes is a little bit easier to digest than what was it, season 3 that had 50 some odd episodes. 50 fucking episodes. But let me say this. I know that it's Saturday night, so we're probably not going to have a whole lot of viewers, especially since we didn't advertise this, previously. We just kind of did it.
This is for our subscribers, number 1.
Yeah, but if you happen to join us live,
I'm so sorry.
Yes,
it's not too late to go get a life.
Yeah, log into your YouTube or Google account, and that way you can chat along with us. Right here, I have you pulled up on the smartphone, so if I see you, I'll know. Just ask us questions, tell us what you thought about the show, that type of thing. If you're watching us late, that's okay. You can still interact with us on Facebook, facebook.com/Houston Wrestling Radio, or on Twitter at H Wrestling Radio. Boom. Overall, you said something, Chris, and I want you to think about it right now. And I'm going to think about this too, okay? But save it till the end of the show.
Put me on the spot.
All right, I'm putting you on the spot, but I'm giving you some time. I think I know what it is too. You said
before we press the record
button, this is up there with All In
and Evolution.
And Evolution of being the show of the year. Is this the show of the year? Don't answer me now.
We'll get there. We'll end the show with it.
Is this so far the show of the year? Okay. All right. Overall, I think it gets a big fucking thumbs up from me. I'm sure it also gets a big fucking thumbs up for you. Watching it, here with you, there wasn't a whole lot of things for us to bitch about and complain about, which I'm always scared of with HWR. I'm always scared if we watch something that's really bad and we get on here and we talk about all the bad things, people are going to think, oh, you guys are just haters and you bash everything. But then when we have a show that's really, really good, you guys are
slurp it up.
You fucking marks, all you do is and it's like I sometimes feel obligated to balance one way or the other.
Well, let's try this way.
But tonight, I don't know if I can do that.
Here's the trick. Last week with Crown Jewel, it was easy to bitch about the things that we didn't like first, so we tried to find something positive about it.
All right.
How about we start this episode? Tell me something you didn't like about Ultima Lucha Cuatro.
Okay, this is something that I was going to save as, just a nit to pick. But I'll throw it on here since you put me on the spot. And this isn't a criticism of the matches. It's a criticism of the way the matches were advertised. The 2 matches I'm talking about is the Cero Miedo match and the death match. You could have labeled the Cero Miedo match as the death match, and you could have labeled the death match as no DQ. Because while that match is good with Mil Muertes and
the Mac.
While that match was really fucking awesome, I don't think that I can sit here and say, you know what, that's a death match. Yeah, they did a lot of crazy ass shit.
And the weapons.
And the weapons was super nuts, but I wish they came up with a different name for that instead of death match, because later on in the night, when we had the Cero Miedo match, Stryker himself said, I've never seen anything like this before, and I watched ECW and Florida Championship and the death matches of Japan.
And he was ringside 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, 30 minutes ago for a death match.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh. Off the top of my head, that's my only nit to pick. Not the matches themselves. Because matches themselves, we'll get to them. Both of them are fucking awesome. It's just the way they were advertised, the way they were presented as. That's my nit to pick.
Okay.
Do you have something you'd like to bitch about?
Y'all can come at me with it. We just finished watching it. Unlike last year, this year I watched it blind with Abel. We did not know what we were getting ourselves into.
No spoilers.
So, and I stayed away from Facebook. Matter of fact, Facebook, it was pretty
right.
And I did my best to avoid any internet places where I would be spoiled. So for the most part, I went in blind. So I'm still on the high of I might need to watch it again to see any nits to pick because there were a couple of things on commentary that you picked up on that I just missed because I was just sitting back and enjoying the moment.
Gotcha.
And I think the blood never left my head from the first 20 minutes of the first episode of Ultima Lucha. So I was just on a natural high the entire show. Like there was no downers. Like everything on the card was spaced very well so that you didn't get an overdose of blood or an overdose of weapons or an overdose of story. It was a little bit of everything in the right order so that you got, instead of going to the buffet line and getting the same fucking plate every time, you went around. You got a bit of everything. And then when you wanted seconds, you got enough of everything else so that it didn't feel like you were overwhelmed.
Right.
I was whelmed enough.
you were appropriately whelmed. I think there is a little something that you put in there, and just for complete transparency's sake, I want to let the viewers know how we watched this. We watched Ultima Lucha Ultima Lucha Cuatro Part 1 and Part 2 together in one sitting without commercials because you have it downloaded off of your iTunes account.
I legally paid for these episodes last season before, and this season.
Yes.
And cutting out the commercials is very well.
Ultima Lucha is making an honest man out of you.
And it's uncensored.
Yeah.
We heard a lot of colorful profanity in these episodes. Very well placed, by the way. I think it didn't feel like ham-fisted, like, oh, we got to say this so that we could please all the marks.
Yeah.
Everything made sense. Taya screaming at Mundo, you ruined my fucking wedding. Like, you would be upset if somebody
Ricky Mundo.
You would be upset if somebody ruined your wedding.
Yeah.
To that extent. So, man, let's just get into it.
All right. Line by line, match by match.
We'll start with the matches.
Cool.
And then after the matches, we'll fill in. We'll go over all the backstage stuff.
Cool. Cool.
Let's start with trios tag titles, triple threat elimination. We had the Rabbit Tribe.
Yeah.
Paul London, White Rabbit, and El Bunny. We had the Snake Tribe with Daga, Cobra Moon, and Jeremiah Snake. And then we had the Land of Misfit Toys. Ivelisse, Exolicious, Sandy Guevara.
Yeah.
That's what opened this entire smorgasbord for us. First word that pops into your mind when the whole thing is over.
Appetizer. I think that's what it was. It was the nice, amazing, caught you off guard appetizer that you didn't expect when you know what you're having for the main course. Yeah. You know, like when you go to Fogo de Chao, if anybody's ever been to a Fogo de Chao, you're like, oh, look at all the meat, look at all the fucking shit on the buffet line, all that shit. And then they come to your table. The first thing they put on the table is the fried polenta. And you're like, well, what's this little thing? And now, oh my God, you get filled up of just the fried polenta because it's that fucking good. And you didn't expect it because you expected Brazilian steakhouse. I'm going to eat all the meat. You know, like that's how this is. It was like awesome little fun match to start everything off with. It didn't overwhelm me, but it was so cool that it automatically, immediately sucked me in. And right from that first fucking match, I'm like, yes, this is Ultima Lucha. This is what I came to see. This is going to be awesome. And I was whelmed appropriately.
I think the word I had at the end was representation. Appropriate representation.
That's a good one.
When you look at Lucha Underground, if you need a match to get people into it, it's fun. Everyone's got a purpose. Everyone's doing something different to stand out from everyone else. The storytelling on the commentaries letting you know why all these fuckers are fucking in this fuck town. And then at the end of the day, when all the fucking's done, all the nuts are busted, and all the rabbits go back to their little holes, you're like, okay, I get it.
Yep.
I understand. All right.
Yeah.
What's next? And that's exactly what it was. It was appropriately representative of what you were getting from this show. Anyone that doesn't know what a Lucha Underground is, you saw it. Anybody that likes pro wrestling saw it. Anybody that likes Flippy Dippy saw it. Anybody that likes old school wrestling storytelling saw it.
Yeah.
Everything. You were satiated no matter what style of wrestling you like. It was there.
Yeah. What I really, really liked in that match is that when it came down to 3-on-2, the Snake Tribe or Reptile Tribe versus the Misfits, and you know, Sammy Guevara was already done dead. Yeah. Which, by the way, I even want to rewind back even more. But Sammy Guevara did that Spanish fly off of the
stage, off of the into everyone on the bottom.
And it looked like, okay, I'm gonna just throw. Who was it that he was doing that to? Was it Cobra Moon?
No, I think it was Daga.
Was it Daga? Somebody. It looked like you were going to throw that person off, but he turned around, looked at the camera, and went, "No, I'm gonna kill myself by doing a Spanish fly with them." Oh, fuck! That was awesome, and that is a nice little come up moment for him. Now, yeah, sure, he's from Texas,
and I've seen him do that exact same move off one of the rafters at Wrestle Circus.
Oh yeah.
So it's not out of his nature to do something like that.
What I was gonna say is that yeah, sure, he's from here, and it's not just that, oh, I'm marking out from the guy that's from Texas. I was marking out for the guy that's brand spanking new, that they're throwing a fucking bone to let him have his moment. And he solidified his moment. And yeah, sure, he got his ass pounded right after that and got him taken out of the match, which cool. It made a Killer Croc or Killer Cross, whatever that fool's name is.
Killer Croc. Wrong podcast. The pop culture's over there.
The White Rabbit. He like fucking took his ass out, right? But it made sense in the story. Okay, you had your moment to shine. Now you have your moment to die. And then now we fast forward to the end of the match. The other moment that I really wanted to gush about, which was 3-on-2. It took out Evilise, and then Exolicious was in the corner, arm all banged up, and all three of the fucking reptile tribe just like, and what he said, "Fuck you, motherfuckers," or something like that, and started waylaying on all of them. Of course, the 3-on-1, you know, eventually. But damn, that was badass. He just started whooping everybody's ass. I love Exolicious.
The finish that everyone got in to take Exolicious out after she had her moment of burst. And then the armbar submission that even she tried to like not get into. Yeah. Then freaking Jeremiah Snake did a super kick on her.
Yeah.
And Cobra Moon's holding Evilise down.
Make it Evilise look. And Evilise couldn't do nothing.
And Exo was fighting it. And you could dude, yeah.
Exo, man, damn. That's a good way to go out. That was a good way. I have not lost respect for that team.
They all came out looking good.
Yeah,
all of them did.
Yeah, they did. And the Rabbit Tribe, they came out looking good because it was London that lost, and
because he tripped over the mini.
Yeah. And so like White Rabbit is all pissed. He was like, "Rabbit Tribe's been eliminated." He turns around,
what?
And he was pissed.
Yeah,
it was good. It was good stuff. Good match.
Taya made Ricky Mundo submit in a vengeance match for ruining her wedding.
Yeah.
Letting the monster loose.
Yeah.
What do you think of Taya hanging with the boys? With Ricky?
I didn't even look at it in those terms until right now that you're mentioning it. Like, oh yeah, it's Taya fighting one of the boys and hanging and beating him. I think that in Lucha Underground, we're past that being a spectacle. Like, oh, one of the women fighting one of the guys. Oh my god. We're past that point.
Who was it from WWE that said it was just a gimmick, that it really isn't? There really isn't an investment in that. I forget. Somebody posted that on. Somebody from WWE said that.
Like a big wig.
Yeah, about intergender wrestling. You're sadly mistaken if you can tell the story right.
Yeah, that's how this match was. I didn't see it as a woman having to fight a dude. I saw it as this kick-ass fucking person in Taya taking out this sniveling, whining little bitch, Ricky Mundo, who tried to underhand, get the best of the babyface, and the babyface whooping the ass of the heel, who was a underhanded, sniveling little bitch.
Masterfully, that curb
regardless of gender.
That curb stomp, yikes!
Ooh, that was
into
cool.
the crossface that had him tap out.
It was like an Indian Deathlock crossface combination. It was good.
And then the story progressed further. She choke slams him through the table outside.
Right.
And I think if the cameras would have been on it for a second more, you would have seen that table, that half of the table that popped up, fall right back down on Ricky Mundo's face.
Yeah.
Taya leaves the ring with Ricky's doll.
Yeah.
And you think, that's the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the end of it. We'll get
to that.
The main event of episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
Which is my front runner for match of the night.
Between both shows. Between
both
part
shows.
1 and part 2. We're treating part 1 and part 2.
We're treating this as an event.
Yeah.
It's a pay-per-view style. My on the top of that list, or fighting for the top of that list, is Killshot versus Son of Havoc, mask versus mask. I mean, so I'm going to skip the part that gets redundant when we talk about Lucha Underground.
Okay.
All the flips, all the dips, all the match, all the moves, all this. I'm going to get to the meat of this.
Okay.
They saved face. They really did a good job of saving face of the guy that lost the match.
Yeah. I almost felt like that this was more a story about him than it was anybody else, the guy that lost. I'm sorry. I don't mean to steal your thunder. Go for it.
So, mask versus mask match. The winner, by tradition, supposed to take the mask off the loser. The winner stands back, gives the loser his moment of clarity. He admits on the microphone, "I've been hiding from my shame because I'm the guy that left my team behind so that I could live." Which basically meant Dante Fox, the guy that everyone booed in season 3, was the hero.
He was right.
He was the hero.
Yeah.
And Killshot was the villain. Lieutenant Jeremiah Strickland. Shane Strickland. Jeremiah Strickland.
Yeah. No, it wasn't Jeremiah. It was Jerome?
Jermaine. So Shane Strickland, Jermaine Strickland. Takes off his mask and like he bows down and like hands it to to Son of Havoc, and Havoc's looking around like, I understand. Like instead of beating a guy while he's down, he gets it. He knows what because he's hiding from his own past,
right?
And he can sympathize for a guy that they just went literally to war with, and the whole thing, like, it was clicking to me towards the end when he was saying that story about deserting his family, his crew. His whole arc on this season was PTSD.
Yeah. Yeah,
which never it was after that war match that he had with Dante Fox, where they both went to Hell is War, whatever the match was. And he wound up winning, but in winning, it cost him his whole like fucking conscience.
Yeah,
to where it was fucking with him, and like having lost the mask is like, you know what? I'm just gonna let all this go and move on. And he unmasked, and you could just see it felt like he was starting to get some of his pride back. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, well, we can tie this together because it all goes together in the story. Right. At the end, he's leaving unmasked from the temple, and Dante Fox in uniform comes out.
In full, like, proper uniform.
Yeah, in full Marine uniform?
Yeah, Marine. That was a Marine. And, they're I forget what they call it, like, because they have a uniform for when they're fighting, and then I think they call it their formals. Yeah. Is that what it is? I don't know.
Are there civvies?
I don't even. No, it's not their civvies. I'm not a Marine.
We watch a lot of John Cena, so we're almost there. And he apologizes to Dante, and Dante understands and accepts him for his mistakes. And then freaking Strickland asks if he could be relieved of duty, and Dante salutes him and gives it to him, and he walks out. Dude, that was such a nice way to tie off that whole story.
Yeah,
that was nice, man. I know you're about to go into the physical stuff in the match, which you're more than welcome to, or if you want to add on to what I said, but goddamn.
No,
dude, the storytelling in this match is what, like, when you watch Lucha, a lot of this is action-based because of the talents that all these guys can do in the ring that identify to each of them individually.
Yeah.
But the story is what ties everything. As the wrestling did, the story is still, like, inched
more. Especially, and I know that this was aired, you know, a couple of weeks ago, and it was taped a few years ago, but damn near
70s.
But yeah, I felt it was kind of appropriate us watching it, you know, Veterans Day weekend, you know. But yeah, I actually really agree with you on this, Chris. Yeah, the flippy dippies was cool. The moves, everything that's in between the ropes was cool. I don't want to take anything away from either one of these guys, but you said it's gonna get a little redundant when you're talking about Lucha Underground, because you could say that about every goddamn match, and
we probably will.
And you're definitely right about this match. Is it my match of the night? Not really, but that's not saying it's bad. Okay, it was really, really fucking good. But the best part, I think, was the story, because I kind of dismissed it even before the end of the match. Like when the match was starting and they were talking about the mask versus mask thing, I kind of dismissed it. I even told you, oh, well, I bet
Mad Dog looks ugly. He needs the mask.
Yeah.
Shade's black. He'll be all right.
Yeah, exactly. So I like that. Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. But no, I failed to realize how much fucking story and purpose and meaning they're going to put into the mask versus mask, you know, for non-luchador wrestlers. Basically, a black guy and a white dude fighting in a mask versus mask match on the show called Lucha Underground. Like, I kind of dismissed it as it's just a gimmick to have a gimmick. But no, man, the story it was beautiful, because this is something WWE fails to do so many times. When they turn somebody heel, they're a heel, and that's it. They very rarely are justified in their heelness, and even if they're justified, they very rarely show them in a favorable light, even though, like, okay, I understand why he did that. He's still wrong, but I understand why WWE never does that. Here, they took that ball and ran with it so far that I would buy it if this dude came back and said, you know what?
As a face,
I fucked up, and come back as a face and admit that he fucked up. And like, the whole story is so psychological that it didn't feel like a wrestling angle. It felt like fucking a Hollywood psychological thriller movie type storyline.
Almost at the end of the whole thing, with the redemption of him actually bowing and giving him the mask and confessing everything. It's one thing for a heel to just take off the mask and just like look at the camera and leave. Yeah, he explained himself, what drove him to where he was, what he did wrong, and basically him trying to leave that behind.
Yeah,
this felt like, to me, the redemption of Killshot.
Yeah,
was the equivalent of this past Wrestle Kingdom, where Minoru Suzuki lost to Goto in that title versus hair match, and he was leaving. Suzuki was leaving, and then he walked back in the ring, pulled down the chair, sat down, and he himself shaved his head. That redemption, where you're like, all right, that's a guy that if you're worried about somebody that'll turn their back on you, you need to worry about the people that have that much respect for themselves, that they're willing to go that far to do whatever they need to do.
Now, if this was WWE, it was fine.
There it goes. All
right. Okay.
Well, cool. I sure hope we didn't miss a lot.
Yeah, I hope so either. Because, like I said, Porsche was in here and she didn't complain, but maybe it was just Juan. I don't know. All right.
Man. So hopefully y'all caught some of that. Enough of that. That's it for the first episode, for the first half of Ultima Lucha. About 45 minutes.
Yeah, it was out. I'm like, I turned up the volume on my phone. You just disconnected it. You connected it back in.
It's on now. I can see it.
Oh, there it goes. All right. I don't know when it went out. Fuck.
Every time we try to do one of these.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it for the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
The second episode. 2 out of 3 falls. Nega Phoenix. Dragon Azteca Jr. Go.
This is my front runner for match of the night.
What the fuck?
This is my front runner.
Yeah,
for match of the
really?
Night. Yeah. and it wasn't going that way up until when it was one fall to one fall. I felt like the first fall happened too quick. I think
Phoenix beat Dragon.
Yeah, and I also thought, oh shit, that was a short match. But then it was, this is 2 out of 3 falls. Oh, yeah, okay, whatever. And then
Azteca got his, yeah.
And then in the middle of the match, I stopped and I said, wait, Chris, was Ultima Lucha taped different time than all the rest of the season? You said no. I said, fuck. Because what I was going to say was, wow, Dragon Azteca really has improved over the last few months. And it's like, it was all recorded on the same goddamn week.
It was 4 weekends or 5 weekends in the span of about a month.
Yeah.
And that's how they taped everything.
Well,
but yeah.
I
they got you.
I thought that Dragon Azteca in that match was the best version of Dragon Azteca we've seen. And of course, fucking Phoenix is Phoenix.
Phoenix Dark.
This is where I do want to blow my load, talking about the flippy dippies and the moves and the somersaults and this and that.
Camera's right there.
Holy fuck, this match, guys! Holy fuck! The counters, the counter to the counters.
That beautiful pop-up corkscrew DDT that Azteca does. And that second one he did, he like spiked Phoenix out there. Oh.
Dragon Azteca had all this time since he's been in Lucha Underground. I haven't really liked him all that much because I always felt like that this was the guy that they were trying to shoehorn into being a guy like Phoenix
or
Drago, Puma, whatever. But he's not on their level. Like, all of them are here. Dragon Azteca is here, but they try to play it off like he's up here, but he's really not. But now, in this particular match, I was like, oh, here's fucking, Phoenix. And then, bam, Dragon Azteca was like right there.
As of right now, from here forth, assuming that there's a season 5, Dragon Azteca, you think, is in the league with the top talent.
He's in the league with the likes of Puma, Aerostar, Drago, Phoenix, all of the flippy dippy.
He won you.
Actually, he won me over with this particular match. Won me over. And,
nice.
Do you want to talk about the story? Some of the little story tidbits?
Man, this has to be one of the most emotionally charged ones because we've seen because Melissa does this so well. She's been on the front line of this storyline, having the romance with Phoenix.
Yeah.
Phoenix died in the Grave Consequences match. He gets brought back to life, but he's not all brought back to life. And you see a woman trying to bring back the Phoenix that she recognizes, and he's never coming back.
Right.
To the point where these episodes where she has to announce him by name as a ring announcer, you can tell the emotional difference. She doesn't have the fervor, the sizzle, the passion of announcing him. She's like mourning the dead whenever she announces his name.
Yeah.
And then seeing her ringside all the time, like zooming in on her facial expressions, her woeing, her depression, you literally every time you see her, she's losing more of her heart because Phoenix has died in front of her, and still he refuses to die forever.
Right.
This is just what she's stuck with now. to the point where she's pleading to her friend, like, you guys are friends. You don't have to go this far. Dragon pauses, and while Dragon pauses, Phoenix, no pause, just play. And he kept going. Oh, man. And that's how we wound up getting the finish with Phoenix taking out Dragon Azteca. And to the point that Melissa was so sad that she left. She gone.
She was distraught. She took off. And I guess that seems like the end of the story, but I don't really know if it's the end of the story. I mean, we saw Dragon Azteca later on, but not involved with this storyline. We saw him in something else, which, again, the whole thing that I haven't liked about Dragon Azteca, they kept trying to shoehorn him in to be the next coming of somebody like Puma, where he's all over the place and he's involved in so many storylines, but the wrestling doesn't back it up and doesn't justify it. Now I buy it. So if he wants to have multiple storylines and multiple influences on what's going on in the temple and in the world of Lucha Underground, please do it. Do it.
It feels like the Lucha version of the Avengers. Cuerno has his thing. Dragon has his thing. Aerostar has his thing.
Oh yeah, he does.
But then they still get together and do their thing, which they're and Drago also part of that, where they do their own thing. But then when they have to come together, they do their own thing, which we'll get to in a little later on towards the end. So Melissa's out. You're thinking, oh man, Famous B is going to be announcing for the rest of the night.
That is what I thought.
Hold on a minute, player. Hold on.
That was my first call. I was like, oh, we're going to get Famous B the rest of the night. No. Oh,
no. Were you expecting Shaul Guerrero?
No, sir, I was not expecting Shaul Guerrero.
Who did we get?
Shaul Guerrero.
Oh, man.
Dude, that was probably my first tingly of the night. I was getting the goosebumps. Were you getting goosebumps?
Oh, you had to go like this.
I got goosebumps.
Towards the end, I had to go like this. Like
what Antonio was out there, talking about, oh yeah, we negotiated, blah blah blah, this and that. I'm like, who the fuck would they negotiate to be a ring announcer? Michael Buffer? That doesn't make any fucking sense. What the hell?
Bruce.
Bruce Buffer. Like, what the fuck? And no, it's Shaul. And I was like, ooh, it's a Guerrero. It's the one Guerrero that we haven't seen that's supposed to be doing all this. Oh my god! I was very giddy and excited. And then as she started walking down the stairs, I was like, ooh, baby, what is you doing? I was like, AJ Lee and Paige got together and made a sexy Mexican baby, and that's Shaul Guerrero.
Oh man, that's not my highlight for me.
Oh, it's definitely not the highlight. This is building up to it. Go ahead, go.
She's about to do the announcing, and out comes Famous B, threatened that she took the spotlight that he deserved or whatever, and he's like telling her to get out of his ring. Go on, get. And never, ever in a million years would I have thought, as a babyface comeback, the words "excuse me" would have gotten a face reaction the way it did. Sweet Jesus, do I want Vicky Guerrero on SmackDown as a face manager now? God dang.
No, fuck that. Sweet Jesus, I'd rather have Vicky show up and slap around Antonio.
Man.
Do you know who we are? We're Guerreros. Bam.
Mondo, Hector, Chavo Jr., Vicky,
my dad, Eddie. Oh God.
Man. My husband, Aiden.
Aiden Guerrero. He took their last name because
I would have. I fucking would have. Oh man, that'd make a great license plate. And then she proceeds to start fighting it. No, Chavo came out from behind.
Yeah, and
they tag teamed them. Dude, Shaul did the three amigos with the fling of the hips and everything flawlessly, man. The 8-year-old wrestling fan in me came out in that moment. I was like, dude, not to sound as an asshole, watching her do that in the moment. Again, I watched this show blind. within 20 minutes, my disbelief was gone. Like you could show me anything on wrestling television, I would have believed it. That's how invested I am in the show. Like I can suspend my disbelief because this is not a wrestling show. It's a show about wrestling, which again we'll explain that later. It felt like the week or two after Eddie died. That reaction, that reaction of seeing his little girl do the same move that he did, and everyone marking the fuck out, and the goosebumps crawling over my skin, taking over. That's the feeling I had. It felt like this was Eddie's death, and then the next night on Raw. That's exactly the feeling I got. Yeah. That was awesome, dude. It's moments like that that is the opposite of being embarrassed of being a pro wrestling fan.
Makes you proud to be a pro wrestling fan. That's the opposite of embarrassed. It's moments like that that make me mad at WWE for passing on Shaul Guerrero. Now, I don't know the exact way that the things worked out with who passed on who, did Shaul not, whatever it is and that. Dude, if you're sucking Charlotte's dick because she's a Flair, why can't you suck Shaul's dick because she's a Guerrero? Like, they just showed us on Lucha Underground how instantly over she could be right from the get-go just because of her presence is there. Before she says a fucking word, when she walks out and just looks adorable.
She has a look already. Yeah. She has a presence already. She has charisma already. She did moves in the ring that are not of a rookie. She knows what she's seasoned. She appeared to be seasoned. Yeah. If all you had to do was make some room in the oven for Shaul instead of overcrowding it, if you say NXT is the developmental, why ditch Saul that easily?
Exactly. Fuck, man. Yeah. Seriously.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was great. That was an awesome moment.
So then from here on out, Shaul's doing the in-ring microphone work.
Right.
The Mac against Mil Muertes. We touched on this earlier.
A little bit, yeah.
Death match. Go for it. The Mac survives the death match.
I really, really love this match.
The algebra.
Like I mentioned earlier, I didn't like the fact that it was labeled as a death match after watching it. Before watching it, and I was like, "Ooh, this is going to be a death match. Okay, this is going to be kind of interesting to see." I want to, when you say death match in pro wrestling, I think the death matches back in like the ECW, the death matches in Japan, that type of thing, barbed wire ring, exploding thing. This, and I don't necessarily say that's what I want to see, but I'm saying is that's what I expect to see, and that's not what I saw in this match. What I did see in this match was fun, new, brutal, and interesting all together,
and bloody,
but I wouldn't label it as death match, because I would expect to see fucking light bulbs. That's not what this was. This was I don't know what kind of, I would have come up with a different name because of all the weapons. Instead of death match, I would say, I don't know.
It felt,
it was something different.
I agree with you on that. This match had, for all of its positives, the biggest negative was its mistaken identity. Yeah. I even asked you, it's like, okay, you was like, dude, did you see that fucking casket? It's like, oh, that's an awesome casket. Is this a casket match? Like, I know the Grave Consequences is a casket match. So,
right.
So I was trying to figure out, just like you, like where this was going. And I was like, and the more I asked you, hey, is this really a casket match? The ref's in the ring, so I'm assuming he's there for the cover, because he doesn't really need to be inside the ring if everything's going on outside with the hardware.
And then they opened up the casket, and there was even more hardware.
A bunch of fucking weapons. Oh, my God. There was an ice pick. There was an axe. There was a chain. There was a crowbar.
The little meat hooks. Oh. Which, thank God, they didn't use. Oh. But, man, I would have called it maybe like a butcher shop match or something like that. But it wouldn't make sense.
If they hadn't already had the Halloween house, the haunted house of Halloween, this could have been like a house of horrors or something.
Something like they could have come up with
sinister.
Yeah.
Death match. Yeah.
I mean, I know it's really hard for us to come up with the name.
They should have just did it as a Grave Consequences. Matt could build himself up during this little rivalry with Mill that he wasn't afraid to die.
Yeah.
So why not do a grave consequences? If he's the one that, like, fuck it, after he puts Mill in a casket, he jumps into one and closes it himself to prove that he doesn't afraid to die, and he can write them both off.
All right.
You know?
Well, enough of the nitpicking on that part. Let's get to the part that was like, good. The fucking ice pick to the head. And yeah, this is pro wrestling. Yeah, I get it that there's certain ways of doing it.
Not my representation of pro wrestling.
I understand. I understand. I understand. I understand that what I'm trying to say is that there are certain ways to hurt somebody without hurting somebody. So I get it that there was a gimmicked way to do it. But it seemed like this was kind of the gimmicked way, but also the hard way, because you saw in Homeboy's scalp, he had a bit of hair where there was nothing but flesh that was visible on the Mac, this part of his head, and it was gross. And you couldn't stop looking at it. Yeah. Whenever they showed a close-up of the Mac, and he like tilted his head to the side, you saw it, you're like, ah! And the more I noticed it, I was like, oh, that was the hard way. Oh. Yeah. It was a hard way, but it was on purpose a hard way, but not that on purpose, but maybe it was like, I hope they talked about this before. Because like the job way is it's like, to us that don't do wrestling, the jobbed way is really to us the hard way, because like Ric Flair grabbing a razor blade and blading himself, that's him doing the job, but that's still fucking gross. So imagine the hard way is like, it's like, it was. Now, it wasn't to the point where, like, some of the shit I've seen out of CZW where they stick, like, a metal rod through your mouth. It's coming out the other side. A $20 bill on your cooter. But it was close to that. But close enough to where I was still invested. I didn't turn away. I didn't look away. I was still watching. I was still invested. I was still interested, and I was a little skin crawly, but not to the point where I was like, yeah. It was to the point where there was still plenty of action, and the blood made it believable. Because it was believable that he was really bleeding that way. But then Meal had the same thing. He tried to rip open Meal's mask. The thing is, instead of ripping it and it staying there, it just kind of flapped over. So whenever he did start bleeding, something that happened in the middle of the match, the forearms. Meal had him in the flatliner position. Mac was elbowing out, so he was kind of doing the head whip, whiplash effect on his head to sell it. But the thing is, that flap was flapping up and down, flinging blood everywhere. It was gross, man. Oh, shit. The Mac, after a shit ton of stunners, beat Mill. And a middle finger. Beat Mill, 1, 2, 3. Rolls him over in the casket, toasts a couple of beers, drops a beer into the casket, and closes it. That's the end of the story. That's the end of the match. Then it could have been a great consequence. That could have been the end of the match, or close the casket. Oh, man. Next on the table, Johnny Mundo in a sacrifice to the gods against Shao Kahn Cueto. Shao Kahn Cueto. Matanza. Dude, in his killing dress. Yeah. Whatever the sacrificial head garb. Yeah. That we talk shit about how cheaply Dragona Steca's little like eagle costume was. The first thing. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. But dude, it had a positive effect and a negative effect. Okay. Him coming down the stairs with the cape, with the headrest, with everything, with the seal. Yeah. Looked menacing. It looked like you're going to have nightmares if you're in the ring watching that come down the stairs coming towards you. He literally looked like the final boss of Lucha Underground. Then he takes off the headrest. Then he takes off the cape. And he rolls into the ring. Breaking the fourth wall here, Jeff Cobb as Matanza Cueto, his shape is not as flattering in a singlet as it was his entire career in that mechanic oversized jumpsuit with the blood stains and the tears and everything. It took me a while to get used to the new like alternate skin of Matanza Cueto in this video game. Once I did, it
It had you, man. The whole story that Johnny, the Aerostar Iron Man, knew that in order for for Matanza to lose, he needed to give the gauntlet
to Mundo.
And Mundo has it in there, and he's actually showing the strength, and then Matanza takes the gauntlet off. Again, Avenger style. And we see Johnny, the human, try to withstand a god, Matanza. And
I loved that one kick out that Johnny had when he had the gauntlet on. And sure, it was after the what's the name of the finisher? The Gift of the Gods?
Wrath of the Gods.
After the Wrath of the Gods.
The first person to kick out.
It was funny because it looked like Johnny wasn't going to kick out, and Johnny didn't kick out.
The gauntlet
kicked out.
Yeah, the gauntlet, and his eyes are still closed. Like, you know, it's not him breathing and like doing it. It's just the glove went.
That is such an interesting and different piece of wrestling storytelling.
I told you that in the moment. Did Johnny kick out, or did the gauntlet kick out for him?
Gauntlet. And if you haven't seen this, if you haven't watched Lucha Underground and you're just listening to us knuckleheads talk about it, you might sit there thinking, that sounds fucking stupid. But they're committed to it. They invest so much in it to where you suspend the disbelief enough to where it's believable. And the way Johnny did it, that's not anything I have ever seen in wrestling that's not comedy wrestling. Yeah, sure, you could go to like Dragon Gate and hear Doomsday Wrestling and other stuff where wacky ass shit happens, but this wasn't wacky. But if you talked about it by itself, it sounds like it is. And that I have to give it to Johnny Mundo for this. The way that he pulled off that acting performance to pull off a match where he is literally a different wrestler when he has the gauntlet on, and the gauntlet is doing things that Johnny normally doesn't do, to portray all that without words in the middle of a wrestling ring to tell that story. Mwah! 5 stars, Mundo. Beautiful. Beautiful.
You know he does his own movies, right?
Yeah. Let me compliment the man.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, you're right. Johnny survives.
Yeah.
After the match, well, yeah, Johnny survives. We'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Main event time. Pentagon Dark. El Cero Miedo. Rematch against Marty the Moth Martinez.
Yes. Cero Miedo.
This was gruesome. Marty's out in the ring. Pentagon's in the ring. He has a chair in his hand and goes, blop!
Just threw a chair right at him right from the get-go. And that started the violence. Homeboy had a crimson mask before, like, even
3 minutes.
The 3-minute mark.
Yeah.
Like, he was bleeding like a stuck pig. Now, again, going back to what I had said earlier, if they labeled this match as a death match, I would have believed you. But you don't need to have a death match when fucking Cero Miedo is involved. You just call it a Cero Miedo match. So that was properly advertised, okay? So when you have those 2 matches on the same show, that's where I have to pick one over the other, and I'm picking this one over that one, obviously. And the way that you advertise it. I know that you said at the very beginning of this that there was plenty of different kinds of stops and stations on the buffet line where you got a little something of everything, but you could go and get seconds. This was the seconds of the deathmatch style type thing that was better than the firsts. Okay?
First one might not have been cooked all the way.
Yeah.
That first piece of filet didn't have bacon wrapped around it.
It was like you were sitting at your table and you saw them bring out a new pan on the buffet line. You're like, oh, take my plate, you know?
Sir, don't take the steam tray. Sir.
You're like, they just put out some new crab. Go get it. Go get it. You know? That's what this was. Ridiculous ass fucking
this entire season, even from last season, by the end of last season, I told you at your old apartment, dude, they've done so well building up Marty Martinez that if he were ever a heavyweight champion, I would buy it. I would believe it. And that momentum carried through this 4th season. Him winning the title with the help of Reclusa. They still did a job of protecting Pentagon when he lost the belt. I fucking bought it. Him main eventing their WrestleMania, Ultima Lucha Cuatro, I fucking bought it. And he did not let me down.
They did a better job in about 5 or 6 episodes to build this guy from being a no-name jobber to the top of the card than WWE did building Jinder Mahal being a no-name jobber to being the WWE champion in 6 fucking months.
Yeah, exactly.
I believe Marty the Moth. And there was, when he first won it, there's doubt. When he, had it another week, okay, a little bit of that doubt fell off. And the next week, a little bit of doubt fell off. The next week, a little bit of doubt fell off. There was about 90% of belief and still 10% of doubt before this match.
For you.
For me. After this match, 110% belief with Marty the Moth being a guy that could be on top at Lucha Underground. The whole way the look changed, but didn't change. He's still a bit touched in the head. He's still a little bit of a weirdo, but instead of a creepy, silly weirdo, he's a creepy, menacing weirdo.
His insanity now has a direction, now has focus, and when you have that, you're really threatening.
It's amazing what just changing a t-shirt color could do sometimes, because like the yellow with the black letters, Aztec Pride, it made him look like a goof. Especially when he's going out there talking about Ultima Lucha Cuatro. It's like, come on, you fucking not Mexican. Like, but he's wearing the thing that says
and
Aztec
his last
Pride.
Name is Martinez.
Yeah, and he's wearing the thing that says Aztec Pride. And it's like that motherfucker ain't Aztec. And it's kind of like he's mocking it himself and the whole thing. But now when he walks out with that black t-shirt with the yellow letters that say Aztec Pride, and he has this like
scowl,
crazy scowl, and it's like, I believe this guy. Oh, yeah, this motherfucker. Yeah, he's Aztec. Martinez? Yeah. Like, I forget his name is Cassius, or Cassius or whatever his real last name is. He's from Utah. I forget that. And I'm like, this motherfucker's going to kill somebody, and I believe it. Like, this was the local one in MS-13,
you mean to tell me that's the guy that lost Tough Enough with Steve Austin? That guy? Fuck, WWE got it wrong.
Michael, what's up, man? Michael Network.
All right.
He says Disney will eventually buy WWE. Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, no. WWE thinks that they can be bigger than Disney.
But you know what? Fuck WWE. We're talking about Lucha Underground tonight. This is a Lucha Underground episode. So,
we're compromising. You let us talk about Lucha. We don't press the SAP button on you. We had a situation on last week's episode, and we kind of scared a couple of people. Yeah, so you just want to make sure that the wall's fine. There's no gaps. We're good. Vamos a hablar de lucha. See, we broke it again. We couldn't even keep our word for 30 seconds.
Can't even do it. How do you feel about
I forgot how violent this match was. We've only had it once before. And it was against Vampiro. And that was where we got the fluorescent lights. That's when we got the fucking cheese grater. That's where we got all the crazy ass shit. There's been different matches leading up to this, like Grave Consequences, like the Hell is War, variations of the hardcore match. Those fucking bear claws.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
The bear claws in that cop match. But this was violent, dude. And I love, again, going back to the delivery of everything. You don't need to know the entire story as long as you've got navigators showing you the way. And hearing a guy like Vampiro say, I'm done. This is too much. I can't take this anymore. The guy that kind of like put a stamp on this type of wrestling match. Human Torch matches, blood matches, death matches in WCW and in Mexico. This guy's saying he can't do it anymore. That's the kind of storytelling that makes this match the top of the card, the main event of your show.
And you know what's kind of weird about it, which is another reason why I think they should have renamed the death match something else, is because while this match was super violent and super brutal, I didn't think this match was as gross as the death match. Maybe it's because they didn't have an ice pick and they picked off a piece of a dude's scalp.
You're telling me a dude that was bloody face within 90 seconds is still not as gross as the ice pick.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe it's because I'm desensitized to wrestling violence. So yeah, you get hit with the chair, you get a crimson mask.
You get thrown through a plate of glass.
Yeah, you get cut up. But we all know, oh, that's sugar glass. Like we know that. But like,
it's delicious.
How do you fake getting an ice pick to the skull and like
I had this conversation with you,
having the piece of meat hanging off?
I had this conversation with you a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago, about Morta's using an actual knife. I was like, at some point, that's no longer wrestling. That's something kids are going to grow up wanting to do to other people. You know?
So I think that this particular match, the Cero Miedo match, had more traditional wrestling violence elements in it to where
it felt safe.
It felt safe, yet more visually brutal.
Yeah.
Kind of like, you know, when you see an actual real explosion in real life, it like has a big boom and there's a loud percussion, but it doesn't look shiny and pretty. Like when you see a Michael Bay film and there's an explosion and it's like
fireworks.
There's fireworks coming out the back and it's more visually pleasing than what a real explosion is in real life. That's kind of how I felt like the difference was, where the ice pick was like, oh shit, that's real violence. That's kind of something I don't. And with this match was like the Michael Bay film where everything's blowing up and it looks pretty and
everybody's gonna go home to their mothers.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, a blue bomb explosion, and it has like this shockwave that makes it look like a supernova. Yeah. You know,
you want more 4th of July, less Hiroshima.
Yes,
gotcha.
Yes.
After all that, and my favorite part of that match, dude. Again, the Mega Man moment where you absorb the power of your last boss.
Yes.
So when Marty the Moth's first title defense was against his own sister,
Mariposa,
the sister buried him in chairs.
Just kept throwing chair after chair after chair on top of him. Yeah.
So in this match, Marty remembered and he started grabbing chairs and threw them at Pentagon. Except Pentagon's smarter than your average bear. He grabbed one and just shielded himself.
Yeah.
While all of them were coming. And then Marty turned around and here comes Penta. Then threw another one in his face.
Another one right to the dome. Oh, fuck.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Pentagon tied it off with a package pile driver off of onto 6 chairs.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other thing he did? He did a Mexican destroyer outside on the apron.
Yeah, off of the announce table? Or was it off of like one of the railings?
I think it was off one of the railings.
Like the steps or some shit. Yeah, I don't know. Oh. No, that was sick. That was cool, man.
Pentagon won.
Yeah.
If you call that a victory.
Well, but let's get to that in a second. Okay? Now that we've covered all the matches except for one, technically. All right? What was the match tonight? Is it this match? Because I'm honestly debating between Dragon Azteca versus Phoenix and the main event. Those are my two picks. That's what I'm debating between. What about you?
It's 3. It's those 2 matches plus the story of Son of Havoc and Killshot. Man, I might have to say Pentagon versus Marty the Moth.
Think so?
Yeah. By very little, man.
Oh, man.
Like if that's like if Pentagon and Marty the Moth was the cream of the crop, then right beneath that foam are those 2 matches.
Okay.
Or those 2 that I'm
having a hard time trying to decide between that match and the Nega Phoenix versus Rey Mysterio Jr. I'm having a hard time, but man, I don't know. Whenever I have a tie like this in my own head, I always default to, well, which one has more significance? And that's really hard to say because while one was a championship title match where there's probably going to be a lot of stuff that comes after it, and even tonight there was, I don't know what's actually going to come out of Nega Phoenix versus Dragon, because that storyline kind of still seems like there's a hanging Chad.
But that's with Phoenix and Melissa.
But there's still something going on with Dragon.
He's doing his own. It feels like, all right, I lost. I tried. Oh, well, I'm not hitting that anyway. I'm going to go on to with the Avengers. So I think there's more significance. Well, here's the thing. I would think there's more significance in the title match, but that also hangs around the suspicion of we were lucky enough to get Pentagon for the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
Can we continue this story with Pentagon and not a fake Pentagon, assuming we have another season?
Okay, all right. Well, then we're okay. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what happened after the match.
So
this might be my deciding factor. Let's talk about what happened
after the match. Pentagon is coming to his senses. Here comes Vampiro, his old teacher.
Well, before that, Reclusa gets in the ring and starts kicking his ass.
And Pentagon takes, and Vampiro comes in and evens the score.
Yeah, evens it out, and they get rid of
Vampiro. Yeah. And then he bows his head and gives Pentagon the belt.
Sign of respect.
And you felt it was like it's coming, and it came. Yeah. Vampiro again couldn't let it go. Maybe it was he got pulled back into the fog of war, and he kicked Pentagon right in the pentas.
Well, right in the kneecap, but
and then whatever. Pentagon came back and hit him, and they started trading blows. And then some dude comes in and beats the ever-loving fuck out of Penta. And Vampiro's like, "Let me introduce you to my master."
We're like, what?
Who's younger than him? I was expecting it to be like fucking Darth Sidious or something.
Yeah,
full of wrinkles. And they lay out Penta like bad. And then out of nowhere, here comes Jake Strong, your Gift of the Gods champion, which as of now can cash in at any moment without a week's notice, without build, just like WWE. He can come in at any time, and he walks in. And for a moment, I was hearkening back to the episode before. Jake Strong had won the 7-man like over the top rope,
right?
And instead of choosing someone to be eliminated, he took on the challenge of everyone.
Right.
So honestly, I wasn't expecting him to cash in. I would have seen him walk in and say, "You know what? I can cash this in at any time. But I don't want to beat you at your worst. I want to beat you at your best."
Oh, you expected the respect thing.
I'm opening season 5 with me taking your title. Instead, he does what every other fucking guy does and every other fucking cash in. Gives Marty and Elias the belt. And Marty even, like, you could see him visually go, "Fuck. I was ready to go home." Well, not that he was ready to go home, but you could see him visually. He read lips.
Like he was already clocked out. He was about to walk out the door.
Like, I don't need no more overtime. This is 4th season already.
It's like your store closes at 8 and you have the customer walk in at 7:59. It's like, fuck.
15 minutes worth of shit.
Yeah.
And sure enough, the match starts. Jake Strong puts him in the ankle lock, breaks his ankle. Pentagon's not tapping. He might have probably passed out because he had been through hell already. And Elias is refusing to let the match end. He didn't want the match to end, but he finally noticed
Marty
that
Elias
he was lifeless.
Grabs that arm and
yeah, that's it. Done. Ring the bell. And just like that, Jake Strong is your new Lucha Underground World Champion.
I have mixed feelings about this, though, right? Because first off, it's Jack fucking Swagger. That idiot.
Swagger!
You know? So, like, I already kind of feel like, oh, this guy's such a goof. You know, like, oh, they're really going to give it to him, I guess, because their ranks are depleted. And they got to pick up somebody and put a... But for all that negativity, because of basically WWE stink being on him, he's in Lucha Underground. Lucha Underground turns chicken shit into rotisserie chicken. You know?
Wow. Put that on a shirt.
Lucha Underground develops characters, develops people. Look what they did with Pentagon. Remember, first time we saw Pentagon Jr., he was jobbing out in the 3-way match. And he was losing to fucking Chavo.
No. Okay? He lost to
Aerostar and Drago first.
Who's the gay guy?
Pimpinella?
Pimpinella. He lost to fucking Pimpinella.
He was losing to Pimpy.
Yeah.
Right? All right.
Now he's main evented 2 Ultima Luchas in a row.
Look what they've done with Marty Lamont, the guy who lost Tough Enough, who was a goof, who did like
Johnny Mundo. Again, he's been everywhere already. But no, in the temple, he's Johnny Mundo, and they started from scratch and they built him up. He was a heel and a face, and you bought it both ways, and you didn't see him as Johnny Impact, Johnny Nitro, John Morrison, John whatever. That's the dude.
Look what they did with Cobb with fucking Matanza. But he was nobody. Nobody knew who the fuck this guy was. And they put him in the mask and the overalls. They said, oh, this is the owner's son. And then he just started whooping ass. And now everybody knows the name Jeff Cobb because he's actually getting bookings because of his role as Matanza. So they're really...
He's actually right now, if I'm not mistaken, the television champion for Ring of Honor.
Yeah, a lot of people know who the fuck he is now because they're taking the misfit toys from either indies from out of nowhere or from the rejects from the big boys and building them into something. So I'm like, maybe they could do something with this guy. And then I think back to not Lucha Underground. I think to the company that owns Lucha Underground, AAA. And what I see with Swagger here, with Strong, is the same thing that they did with Corleone. What was his name when he was, back in the States? Was it Jindrak? Marco Corleone. They made this guy into fucking something. And he is really tearing it up over there in fucking AAA. He's like, oh, the tall, big, menacing white dude. Oh, el grande gringo. Like, shit, man. They know what they were doing with this guy because they know their audience. It was like, okay, in Mexico, you have this big, tall, white guy. He's going to be the heel, the foreign heel that everybody hates because he's a big, tall, white guy. You know what? Maybe they're going to do the same type of thing with Jack Swagger. And that's kind of what I'm thinking. Maybe that's the wheels turning. They could make this guy who... And all the fucking WWE stink that I'm talking about. Before he got that stink, when he was the WWE ECW champion, I really liked the guy, and I thought he had a lot of potential for when he was like overly cocky bro out of like a fraternity kind of guy. When he was just like popping his collar and doing the push-ups and this and that. Then we got called up to the main roster. He lost all of his swagger. Yeah, but like... all right, maybe they could bring some of that shit back, and maybe they could make him the evil gringo. And I'm like, all right. That was when he was just holding up the title. That was before the rest of the shit that happened in the rest of the episode. So, I don't know, man. Lucha Underground, we keep using this phrase. They have a lot of positive equity with us. So I think they might be able to do something with this young swagger kid, this young strong kid.
He's got a future.
He's got a future in this business.
Again, one of the reasons, hearkening from the beginning of the first season, why we like Lucha so much, it's not a professional wrestling show. It is a show that happens to have professional wrestling in it.
Yeah.
They were able to tie up a lot of storylines with these beginning credit and post-credit, pre-credit and post-credit scenes of both of these episodes.
Yeah, the little Marvel movie.
We'll start with the beginning from the first episode. Aerostar recovered the other half of the medallion of souls from
the police chief,
Katrina's mother.
Yeah.
And in the process, Katrina's mother evaporates. Disintegrates. She's gone. Poof.
Like Spider-Man.
Gone. Mr. Stark, I don't feel well. And he does that for a reason. So Tanya made Ricky submit, and she took the doll with her. Before the second episode started, they're in the locker room, and Johnny's telling Taya, "Hey, if I don't survive the sacrifice, know that I love you." Oh, corny.
Yeah.
And then as he leaves, the doll's talking to Taya. It's like, "I love you too." And it's like,
right.
What
the fuck?
And then the doll's like, "You'd make a great host," and you'd see Taya getting corrupted by the doll. Mm-hmm. And then towards the end of the night, here's what happens in order. I'm gonna break this down by order. Right. First, we have the Avengers, the Mex Avengers.
Mex Avengers?
Yes, we have Aerostar,
right?
We have King Cuerno, and we have Dragon Azteca with the gauntlet. After, when Johnny was about to go celebrate with Taya, Aerostar finds him and was like, "Bro, we need the gauntlet. We need the gauntlet. There's a bigger plan here that involves, it's bigger than all of us.
And it'll corrupt you if you keep it."
And Johnny had enough wherewithal to be like, you know what? I'm not gonna let anything corrupt me. And even I, as a fan, with my disbelief suspended, I was surprised that Johnny actually took the glove off and gave it to Aerostar. I was like, wow. And then Aerostar's like, "You're a good guy, Johnny." And Johnny's like, "Nah, I'm not." And I was like, I buy it. I fucking buy it. Oh, no.
Nasty Nate, what's up, man?
Bro!
Good to see you in the live chat. He chimes in with this. Man, that's way too much storylines for me. I haven't even watched Lord of the Rings yet.
Lord of the Rings is 9 hours a waste. He could have just flew the dragon all the way to the ring. He didn't have to hop off and go through all the fucking mountains. And I got that from Wikipedia. I've never seen Lord of the Rings. So that's when they get together, the three Mex Avengers with the gauntlet. It's like, I have a plan. We can do it now if we can. And then the next scene is the Black Lotus, who we haven't seen at all in this fourth season. Black Lotus is somewhere in the bowels of the temple, with staring Matanza in the eye, swearing like, look, now I realized it wasn't the Aztecs that killed my father. It was you, and now I'm here to return the favor. She has the gauntlet in her hand, and after a couple of blows, she goes all Kano and rips his heart out. And that's it. Down goes Matanza. He's out. He dead. He'd been sacrificed to the gods. And then we're like, yeah, it's a nice happy ending. No, because after freaking Dragon Azteca comes with the Lotus and like, it was like everything's well, all is good. Yeah. Nope. Here comes Jake Strong, and he attacks.
Which, by the way, why the fuck didn't Lotus turn around and go, huh? Because it was literally like half a second when she walked away and he walked up. Like, you're telling me you were far enough away that you didn't notice this tall white guy like sneak up behind you in the bowels of the fucking
in a white shirt and tie.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry.
And he beats up Dragon Azteca, breaks his ankle, takes the gauntlet. He's gone.
Yeah.
Next, Mundo's backstage to celebrate with Taya.
Right. Like, what's up, babe?
Give me some of that.
Yeah.
Taya's
like, nah.
She beats the
I'm
shit
not
out of
your wife.
I'm a god.
And then like starts choking him
and beats him up. And then
we thought that was it.
Then we fast forward to the limo. People are in the limo,
which we've seen this limo before on other Ultima Luchas
and episodes of Lucha Underground. Like, what do we do with the gauntlet? Who do we hand it off to? How can we keep the new order going? Because there is this faction called the Order that's trying to take control of all the tribes.
We kind of only see them like very sparingly.
So first,
the 7-Up guy.
So first, the corrupt cop Jeff Godfrey.
Yeah.
Then it's Papa Cueto's in there, and then freaking Vampiro's teacher, which we don't know who the name is.
Yeah,
but
the new master.
The master walks in, sits in there, and then all of a sudden, here comes Jake Strong, sits in the limo with the belt.
And they're all talking to the same guy.
With the gauntlet.
Yeah.
Whose blood is it? Matanza's. He's dead. And you can see Papa Cueto just like hanging his head in like sorrow that he lost his son. And they're all talking to the leader of the Order,
which we haven't seen before, but has been a character since season 2.
Since the end of season 2.
We've only seen him, not even seen him face to face, but they've referenced him and somebody's been talking to him like twice, maybe at most.
And now we don't know who his character is, but the actor portraying that character is fucking Wade Barrett. He like he leans in out of the shadow. So is there any more bad news? It's like, oh, fuck. You fucking fuck. Fucking fuck.
God,
you bring in Wade Barrett.
Dude. Then.
And that's not it. That's not it.
Well, hold on.
We're not done.
No. That's when, even more so, when the thing that I was, that little 5-minute tirade that I said about Jake Strong, all that further reinforced what I was thinking that they were thinking about doing when I saw Barrett and Strong together. And I'm like, 2 tall white guys that came from WWE. Oh, fuck. And they're the heels. Oh, fuck. And they're the guys in charge of the Order. So, yeah, all the will be like, fuck the white man, you know, and it's
fuck the guy that can't speak even proper English.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, that further reinforced to me my theory about that, and I'm actually happy about it. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. The last part,
and we're still not done. We started season 4 of Lucha Underground at the funeral home Dario is in the casket. Antonio reaches in, grabs the key that has the soul of Matanza locked. So once the key's broken, Matanza's free and he can roam and pillage and plunder. We go back to that scene at the end of this episode, at the very end of all this bonus footage from Marvel. And we have Iron Man opening up the casket with the medallion, the complete medallion of souls. And I don't even know what the correct term is. I'm just calling it the medallion of souls.
Yeah.
He has it incomplete. He has it complete. It's whole. It's not two pieces. He puts it around the corpse of Dario Cueto. And the power of the medallion brings Dario Cueto back to life. He sits up and screams, what the fuck? And that's it. The guy that has been an asshole for the first 3 seasons, that was shot by his own brother in his office to end the 3rd season, turns out might be the key to saving the entire 7 Aztec tribes from going into the hands of these demon gods. That are in the order. This is not a professional wrestling show. This is a drama, a sci-fi show that just happens to have a fuck ton of wrestling in it. And it just had man,
that whole end Marvel credit scene of that 3 or 4 different scenes had both of us marking out so goddamn hard. We were marking out so
You were
hard.
pacing in my living room. And there's not space in here to pace.
I was
like, fuck. And we're all just like, I didn't even know how to express myself. There was just random sounds and movements coming out of my body.
We're like, oh, what? Oh, ah. Yeah. Oh, man.
And that, ladies and germs, Ultima Lucha Cuatro.
What was the match
in the books? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Is it the main event?
What are you leaning towards?
Marty versus Penta?
What are you leaning towards? Are you leaning towards?
You may have bested me with your argument of that match might have more significance. Because, well, see, that's where I'm having the trouble. Because you said Dragon Azteca, he's done with what's his name?
Dude, but what if Killshot comes back as a face because Dante needs another warrior, another soldier for the war against the demon gods? What the fuck, man?
I mean, let me spit out my point. My point was, you said Dragon Azteca is pretty much done with Nega Phoenix, right? So that storyline's over. Well, is Marty Lamoth done with Penta? And is that storyline over? Because apparently Penta is going to be more concerned with Vampiro and the new master, right? So where does that leave Marty? So which match does have more significance?
And who's coming for the title? And now there's not a Gift of the Gods champion. So is Pentagon still tied? Number one, is Pentagon coming back for season 5? More than anything.
Well, if he is, I would imagine he's going after the new master.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then who's going after the title? Is it Marty? Marty doesn't really have a claim in the title, right? But goddamn, I want to see Marty in that picture.
Dude, Marty versus Strong would be an interesting match. They're both the same height. Marty's bigger than Swagger. But dude, I think the significance for all 3 matches are up in the air because we don't know where they can go with any of them. True. So it just goes down to which match from bell to bell you're more fascinated with. And unlike
Penta versus Marty, boom.
Unlike NXT, unlike the main roster, unlike other shows, other wrestling programs, hell, unlike Ring of Honor, this is a good problem to have when your pay-per-view show has at least 3 matches where you can't decide which one's the best match of the night.
I can't decide, but for the sake of deciding, just so that we can get off of this question, Penta versus Marty. That's mine.
Okay.
What about you?
Yeah, that's mine too.
Okay, cool.
Fuck.
Come on, man. Put your hand in the middle on the count of 3. Thumbs up or thumbs down whether or not this goes on our match of the year list, okay?
1, 2, 3. think it's too soon to call that, man.
I know, which is weird, man, because it's like usually we care about the match and then we give it a thumb up or thumb down. But a lot of how we feel about these matches depends on what the fuck Lucha Underground actually does in season 5.
Yeah,
which is kind of an unfair way to judge
That's
it.
That's more of a critique that you have for your judgment. Not so much. I just feel like the 3 matches that are stuck in my head are so close.
Now you're having a hard time picking any
It's
one.
not to say that maybe fucking all of them could be a spot on my match of the year if it was rotated either way. But if we both, I'll tell you what. Here's what we'll do.
Okay.
You get here early enough before we pre-tape on Wednesday. Before Arnold gets here, or hell, even if Arnold gets here early enough, we'll watch the match again. And we'll see if we still have that same feeling now that the lights are on and we're flaccid. 3 days later, 4 days later. And if we still feel
now that
like
you're sober.
Yeah. And if we still have the same feeling, then we'll put it on our match of the year.
Okay.
And if not, shit, it's right beneath the match of the year list, the best of the rest, right there. Match number 1 is this one.
All right,
so we'll come back to it. We'll have time Wednesday.
That's our compromise. That's our compromise.
We'll watch it
again,
and we'll see. Because I'm still, man,
Chris,
the blood has not left my brain. It's still up here.
Chris, you know the next question. Is this so far the best show of the year? Does this best All In? Does it best Evolution? Does it best any other show that you could think of? Maybe the G1 Climax or whatever.
Oof.
The New Japan ROH show that they did in America.
Supercard. WrestleMania weekend. That's up there also. Nitpicks notwithstanding about this shouldn't have been a death match. It should have been something else.
Because that's really my only nitpick.
Quality over quantity. Spacing of the matches. There's at least 1 or 2 matches in All In that I wasn't completely invested in, that I really was shaking my head like, okay, it was good, but it didn't. I wasn't at the edge of my seat. Evolution, I still have my gripes about too many women in the Battle Royal that could have had their own singles matches. Supercard of Honor, some of those matches weren't. I wasn't fully invested in, and that's going to be a lot of the issue with that. Even though I was at All In, there's still some stuff that this could be
the best show of the year.
Yeah, there is one contender left.
What's that?
This time next week
will
be in Los Angeles for TakeOver War Games number 2.
Yeah,
and that card already 3 matches in is shaping up to be a contender for event of the year. But as of right now, today, November 10th, my event of the year might possibly be Ultima Lucha Cuatro.
I tend to agree with you. There's not much else that I could add on to that you didn't already say, because I think that there was matches on all of those shows out of the ones that I did watch, because I didn't watch Supercard. But out of all those shows, there were a few matches in the undercard I didn't really care. I tried to not care about some of the matches, Ultima Lucha. Excuse me, even the matches earlier on in part 1, where I was trying to play on my phone, do some shit there, get myself distracted.
I did not once have to tell you, hey, did you see that? No. On your own.
On my own, I had to, because like when I'm watching Raw and SmackDown, I'm like, and I'm not actually watching Raw and SmackDown, and I was trying to like sit here, whatever, and I was like, fuck this phone. Holy shit. What's going on in the
Every match in the first episode. Match. And by then you learned your lesson and you didn't even do shit on your phone for the second half.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
That's it, man. That covers everything. You thought we were going to be here for 45 minutes. We've been here an hour and a half.
God damn.
Any closing remarks?
The storytelling on this show is amazing. Just goes to show what happens when you have actual storytellers that work in the company, because I
that
know
work in the field.
Because I know that WWE likes to boast that
we got Freddie Prinze Jr. That counts.
Well, we have Freddie, but they like to boast that they hire a lot of professional writers that have a lot of experience in daytime soaps. Daytime soaps aren't really that highly regarded when it comes to actual storyline and nuance and subtext and this and that. There's daytime soaps, and you kind of see it in wrestling, because there's a lot of times where like, oh, it's just testosterone-filled soap opera, and it is. This isn't that. This is cinematic, well thought out Hollywood storytelling in a wrestling show, and that's the difference, because that's the type of people that are working on this. Robert Rodriguez is hiring these kind of folks to do that. And it fucking shows. I mean, I know this isn't Nasty Nate's cup of tea. He said there's too much story, but I'm eating this shit with a spoon.
The equivalent would be if WWE were to hire fucking Robert Kirkman from The Walking Dead to produce some of this stuff. That's the equal to Robert Rodriguez right now, being the Kevin Feige over the entire Avengers 10-year story of the Marvel universe. That's Robert Rodriguez right now, overseeing everything of Lucha Underground, making sure that it's to his standard before it goes on the air. Yeah. And it shows, dude. It fucking shows.
Yeah.
That's it, man. That's a fucking show. I've had you here long enough. I want you gone.
That's good. This is a good ass fucking show, man. Wow.
I would actually recommend anyone that hasn't even watched any of Lucha Underground, give these 2 episodes a shot. They have to be on Daily Motion somewhere, or on the Pirate Bays, or on the torrents,
or just buy it on fucking iTunes.
$4 on iTunes for those 2 episodes. Just try it. If you don't like it, try again next season. But still, dude, there has to be something within those 2.5 hours that any wrestling fan will like.
Yeah,
and you will not regret it.
Yeah.
That's it. Ultima Lucha Cuatro.
Boom. That's it. Adios, my friends. Keep it classy. Done. Done. Well, there's nothing else to say other than it was fucking badass and the best show that we've seen all year.
Yeah.
That's all you can say.